Hello and welcome. Thank you for attending the second annual SIP Inclusion Conference. My name is Kristen Brooks, Executive Director for the Supporting Inclusive Practices Project out of Riverside County Office of Education.
And I'm Kevin Schaefer, Director of Inclusive Practices out of El Dorado County Office of Education.
We would like to thank all of you for attending our second annual Virtual Inclusion Conference. Our theme this year, Inclusion from the Ground Up, cultivating a strong foundation from birth to adulthood. We believe that meaningful inclusion throughout the education system begins at birth into adulthood and is grounded in equity, inclusion, and belonging. The SIP vision is to innovate, include, and impact. Along with inclusion accomplices like you, we can and we will make this vision a reality. Our team would like to thank the Riverside and El Dorado County Offices of Education for their continued support of our project. A special thank you to the California Department of Education Special Education Division for funding this project so that we can continue doing the work we're not only passionate about, but committed to improving lifelong outcomes for students with disabilities and without. Because we want this event to be inclusive for all, we'd like to remind you that this year's conference platform offers a significant amount of embedded accessibility features you can customize to meet your individual needs. To access these features, click on the blue icon on the top right side of your screen. In addition, we have embedded closed captioning and have American Sign Language interpretation and Spanish translation available for you. And with that, let's get this conference started. I'd like to introduce the California Department of Education's Director of Special Education, Heather Calmes, to kick off our 2 days of incredible speakers, activities, and statewide connections. Heather?
Great. Thank you, Kristen. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the second annual SIP Inclusion Conference. My name is Heather Calmes, and I am the Director of the Special Education Division at the California Department of Education. On behalf of the California Department of Education, I want to thank you all for being here in community with us over the next 2 days. I hope you walk away inspired, empowered, and ready to be an accomplice and an ally on our journey towards equitable outcomes for students with disabilities. Providing inclusive environments for all students, and specifically students with disabilities, is about providing the access and the opportunity to realize the brilliance within each and every student that we serve. LRE and inclusive practices are at the foundation of the CDE's Special Education Division's theory of action. We believe that the right educational setting, the right supports and services, and high-quality instruction will ultimately lead to increased post-secondary outcomes for students with disabilities. California has been making progress over the past several years in our inclusion journey as a state. In 2017, 56% of students with disabilities received their supports and services inside the general education classroom 80% or more of the day. In 2021, almost 61% of students with IEPs received their education, their supports and services in the general education classroom 80% or more of the day. We have new targets over the next 5 years, and our goal is that by 2025, which is right around the corner, we have 70% of students with IEPs receiving their supports and services in general education settings 80% or more of the day. This is an aggressive target, and we need your help. So the state of California has doubled down and made significant investments regarding inclusion over the past 2 years. And our partnership with the Supporting Inclusive Practices team and our community and the work that we do across the state is unprecedented. And we are forever grateful for their vision, leadership, and commitment to the work. Again, thank you all, and please enjoy the next 2 days. And we have an exciting morning planned for you as well, and can't wait to hear from our youth and our youth voices as well very shortly as well. So again, welcome and thank you so much, and talk soon.
Thank you so much, Director Calmes. We're grateful for your continued support and efforts to ensure inclusive practices remain central to the equity work in California, benefiting all students, specifically students and youth with disabilities. You mentioned brilliance, and now we're going to experience brilliance in the student voices and the mentor voices from the UC Davis Redwood Seeds program. So we're going to dive into our conference opening keynote panel that honors student voice and sets the foundation and tone for the rest of the conference over the next 2 days. Nothing about us without us. I have the distinct honor of introducing our opening keynote student and mentor panel from the University of California, Davis Redwood Seed Scholars Program, a 4-year residential program specifically designed for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Yes, you heard that correctly. Here with more specifics regarding the program and an introduction to the student and mentor panel is Lisa Yamasaki, Sexual Health Instructor and Assistant Technology Director for the Yolo County Office of Education. Lisa, thank you for being here today.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us in the morning panel. The Redwood Seed Scholar Program at UC Davis is a 4-year inclusive college experience for individuals with intellectual disabilities 18 to 26. We are in our 2nd year. We have a freshman cohort and a sophomore cohort, and next year we'll be welcoming our 3rd cohort of students. In the first 2 years at UC Davis, the students live in the dorms. They live in the dorms that are integrated dorms and have roommates and go to the dining commons and have all the access to the UC Davis campus activities. The 3rd year, the scholars will live in on-campus apartments, and in the 4th year, off-campus apartments will be the plan for the residential part. Students that are freshmen and sophomores take foundational courses that are created just for the Redwood Seed Scholars. We have classes that Redwood Seed instructors do in literacy, math and budgeting, sexual health, communication technology, civics, and self-regulation. These foundational courses are developed to ease into the college experience. So the freshmen take these courses to have a chance to develop relationships with each other, have ability to develop relationships with us instructors. So there's really a core support of people that get to know them. One of the things that we couldn't do without student support, peer support, we have an amazing group of UC Davis students that provide mentorship in the areas of academics, health and wellness, social, residential, and employment. So in the 2nd and 3rd quarters of the year, the Redwood Seed Scholars not only take the foundational courses, but they get the opportunity to go take a course in the UC Davis curriculum, somewhere in the area, in an area of their interest, and also have the opportunity to participate in internships and paid work opportunities on campus jobs. So we have amazing UC Davis students that sign up, participate, and get some academic credit to be able to be our student support. So that's an amazing thing. Today, we have 2 Redwood Seed Scholars. We have Caitlin Reed, a freshman, and Karis Chun, who is a sophomore, and 2 great mentors that have come to participate, Sydney and Emily. Both of them are employment mentors this quarter.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate the introduction. And I'd like to get us started with some questions, specifically for the mentors to begin. What opportunities have opened up as a result of being a student mentor in the program? Emily, how about we start with you?
Yeah, so I've very much enjoyed being a part of this program. I think one of the opportunities that has opened up as a result of being in it has just been more opportunities to be more hands-on and be able to also offer opportunities for the scholars. For example, I have been able to I have had ideas, for example, to kind of create more artistic development within the scholars and just be more creative. And that also goes on to like making like stickers or merch. I'm working right now with Karis and Abir and a few other scholars to go ahead and kind of get more involved and create more opportunities as well. And so that's something that I find very fulfilling. So I see that as an opportunity for myself as well as for the scholars. And then also on campus, in student government, yesterday, Karis and I were, and another scholar, Abir, also joined in on the Aggie Arts Committee, which is a new committee on campus dedicated to kind of putting up more art and creativity on campus, which is inclusive of music, of murals, of merchandise, of student advocacy, and just overall amplifying voices. So that's one of the great opportunities, is just being able to kind of expand just in general what I'm able to offer as well, and being able to like advocate as a mentor and as a friend to the scholars. So I feel like that is just an amazing opportunity that has opened up, because I feel like in a lot of other positions on campus, it can be difficult to kind of have your voice shown a lot. And I love that this program is very receptive towards both the scholars and the mentors' input. So those are just a few.
Thank you, Emily. And it's true. It's something that we talk about in our project, that when we move toward more inclusive environments, it not only benefits the students that we are now including, but it benefits everyone. The diversity in our classrooms benefits all students and adults in the programs. So I appreciate your answer. How about you, Sydney?
Good morning, everyone. I think that as a mentor, I've gained so much from this program. The most prominent thing that comes to mind is definitely the friendships I've made, especially with the scholars, but also with other mentors. It's so heartwarming to be involved in a group that has similar passions. And I think that the scholars themselves have such a great work ethic and so much heart, and being able to interact with them and see them work and just really dedicate themselves and push themselves and challenge themselves has inspired me to be a better person for sure. So that, I think, is one of the biggest takeaways. Additionally, as an employment mentor, I get the opportunity to connect with different departments, different supervisors on campus, and they've all been amazing in seeing how excited our community is to have the scholars on campus and get them into these jobs and teach them new skills has been a really beautiful thing to see. And I've had, the supervisors be very kind to me and say, if you're looking for a job in this department, like, let us know. So in addition to it being an amazing opportunity for the scholars, the mentors also benefit from a lot of these connections as well.
It sounds like you've created a community within a community that wouldn't exist had it not been for the program. And in addition to that, with the employment component of the program, you are assisting the scholars in reaching a competitive, integrated, family-sustaining wage for the rest of their lives to be independent as possible. So awesome. Scholars, this question's for you. We're going to start with Karis. If you could send a message to your teachers in elementary to high school, what would you want them to know about what you're doing now? Karis.
I want to say to them that whatever they did a good job. And what they did with all support that I have was leading up to this day, and I would thank them.
Awesome. I'm sure you had amazing experiences with the teachers that have led to this experience and prepared you to be successful in a college situation. So teachers having that high standard for all students is so critical. So thank you. Caitlin, same question to you. What would you like to tell your teachers?
I would probably say that you guys did a great job with educating me from like elementary to like high school, and that with me getting into this amazing program, an amazing school, that I would have to thank all of them for educating me and pushing myself and to be more challenged and more independent now.
I think this is a perfect way to start our conference by thanking all of the teachers who are so critical and meaningful in this process to maintain high expectations for all students, not just as we are teaching them in the moment, but for lifelong. The preparation necessary in teaching those skills is really what sounds like it got you both where you are today and qualify for the Redwood Seeds program. So congratulations. Back to the mentors. This time, Sydney, we'll start with you. If you could tell your fellow UC Davis students about what you enjoy most about being a mentor, what would you say?
I talk about the program to everyone who will listen. I honestly love its mission so much. And the first thing that I tell people when speaking about it is that I have the coolest job on campus. I think it's amazing that, it counts as a job, but it's just the most exciting and most fun activity that I get to participate in. I think that just learning from the scholars has been amazing. And I think there's so much personal growth in that too. I know that, for some people, working with students with intellectual disabilities can be uncomfortable. And I think that putting yourself in that position, there's so much to learn and so much to really grow from that. And I have loved every minute of it. I think this is probably the thing that I'm most proud of from my time here at UC Davis, for sure.
Sydney, just a quick follow-up question to that. How has it changed your perspective or even your trajectory for what you want to do with your life? Has there been any shift in that for you?
That's a great question. I have been really fortunate. I've been volunteering with the neurodiverse community for probably 6 or 7 years now. So it's been a big part of my life for a long time. And I realized pretty early that it's something that I'm passionate about, and I hope to pursue healthcare. I know that oftentimes people with intellectual and developmental disabilities aren't getting adequate care and aren't having providers that necessarily listen and take certain things into consideration. And so, as I've always wanted to pursue healthcare, this has just been an additional thing that I'm like, here's an area of focus, and here's something that I also want to continue volunteering and working with in my personal life.
That exposure and creating relationships with populations you may not be familiar with has really enhanced your or expanded your possibilities for what you want to do with your life and really make it specific. So thanks, Sydney. Emily, same question. What opportunities have opened up as a result of being a student mentor in the program? Or if you could tell your fellow UC Davis students about what you enjoy most.
Yeah, so I definitely always tell my friends about this program. Same thing as Sydney. I feel like this is like the coolest job on campus. I really have been able to make lots of friendships throughout this with other mentors as well as with the scholars. And I think just in general, like that friendship, like is very amazing. I think just being able to hang out with the scholars, understand and like learn from their experiences and being able to kind of just see like them grow, in their confidence, all that, learn about like their personal life, everything. And it's just kind of, it's amazing to see them just grow up in their confidence, go and start to speak to their supervisor and be like, hey, I actually don't know about this, or I'm the employment mentor for Karis. Like sometimes we'll be working together and she'll like correct me if I have something wrong or something. We'll be having like a book or whatever. I'm like, oh, I thought this said like Irvine. Oh no, it's Riverside because we work at the library, right? And I think one of the things that I enjoy the most is just being able to learn and just absorb all the information and the experience that I'm having throughout this position. And I think I would tell other UC Davis students that this is an amazing opportunity to be able to just grow in yourself. Like I feel like my character has grown a lot through being a mentor, and just be able to expand your perspective, because there's a lot of little things that you don't realize oh, this part is essential to being able to integrate and make other people feel comfortable as well. And so just in general helps you be a better friend to other people, to just have more compassion in general towards everyone. I think that's one of the biggest things, is just being able to learn more about yourself and the way that you see the world, and being able to shift your perspective in order to, yeah, I just feel like I've learned so much, and I feel like everyone should have the opportunity of doing this. And yeah, I can go on and on.
We love it. It sounds like it has opened up doors for you to identify like ableism in your environment, and then also to make those connections so that you can become an ally. You can become an accomplice, an advocate, an activist for the disability community. And without this experience, that would not have been part of your reality. So love that answer. We're going to go back to our scholars now. And Caitlin, we're going to start with you this time. What's next for you in your life? What are your plans?
My plans after this program is to focus on what I want to do with my life and be an advocate for people with intellectual disabilities. I want to fight for people with that, because I know that it's been hard for a lot of people in like the whole world with like discrimination and like stuff like that. And I want to go for that. And I want to be an advocate, because I am someone who has a disability, and I want to stand up for people like that.
Caitlin, do you currently have a job on campus, or could you let our participants kind of know what's a day in the life of Caitlin look like in the Redwood Seeds program?
I have 2 internships right now. One of them is the front desk of the veterinary clinic. So I get to work with animals like dogs and cats. I get to like greet everybody, make appointments, like walk-in appointments and stuff like that. And I have another one also. I work for Disability Rights Activist Rights Committee, DRAC, and I get to be an advocate for people with intellectual disabilities.
Awesome. Did you always have an interest in animals, or how did you get into the line of work at the veterinary clinic?
I actually have 2 dogs at home. And I've always wondered how like stuff works for animals, like different types of like issues and like sicknesses and stuff like that.
So you get to live out your passion working at the vet with animals. Do you think after you leave college, you will continue your work as a vet assistant, or go into advocacy, or why not do both, right?
Yeah. I don't really do well with like hospitals or stuff like that. So I kind of want to lead my way to like advocacy, because I also have been like speaking at, well, right now, one place right now in Laguna Beach, for being an activist. I went to a conference and I got to put together a speech, and I got to share it at a conference in Laguna Beach.
Wow. And you like giving speeches in front of large groups as part of your advocacy work?
Yeah, it can be nerve-wracking, but when I'm like on stage and I get like settled in the audience, then I'm fine.
Right. We all feel that. So you're with people with the same experiences of getting nervous before large crowds. So thank you.
Yes.
Let's go to Karis. Karis, what's next for you in your life, and what are your plans after the program?
For me is have a full-time job and then live in an apartment with somebody. And then I want to be a librarian, think that's what I crave working with Emily. But I'm figuring out what other places I could work besides the library. So working at a vet area, same as Caitlin, in a different area. But so far, I'm seeing what other opportunities what they have for me.
Mhm. So you're exploring other options for you in your areas of interest, your areas of passion. So you have tons of opportunities to and time to explore what you want to do with the rest of your life, right?
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you, Karis. I'm going to go to some of the questions that have been asked in the chat. So Sydney, Emily, Karis, Caitlin, Lisa, whoever most appropriately or has information about the question would love to hear more. So do the scholars do speaking engagements at schools? It sounds like someone might be interested in having you come speak about your experiences in the program at other schools to share with the teachers and the students. So anybody?
So most of our scholars are very able to do presentations and have spoken to UCD classes, UCD medical school classes or groups, many Zooms. I don't know if anybody's actually gone to like a high school program or into any elementary schools or to talk to teachers that are in the K-12 situation, but lots of opportunities and many willing scholars.
Awesome. And would Lisa, would anyone interested connect with Beth Foraker or through the website? Is there a way to?
On the website, there's informational email, but Beth Foraker, who is our director, or Sarah Barnes, who is our co-director, those are two great points of contact.
Awesome. And another question is really specific to the mentor program. How long do the scholars get to work with the mentors, and how long has the program been implemented? How long did it take to build the program? Emily or Signe, tell us a little bit more about the mentor program over the course of the 4 years.
Yeah, the mentor team that we have here is extraordinary. I believe we have over 100 UC Davis students right now on staff for our 2 cohorts. So we're expecting to have a lot more coming our new cohort here in the fall. I'm not sure how long it took to implement it, but I know that depending on schedules, the scholars will work with different mentors at different points, and they each have a team of mentors depending on different aspects of independent living. So they will have certain employment mentors that they connect with often and certain residential mentors that they will connect with often. And the mentor team, we meet once a month and we talk about updates with the program and how we can do a better job as a team to support all of the scholars on campus.
Something you said, Sydney, there are different mentors for different components of the program. Tell us a little bit about what those different components of the programs are, and then like how that prepares the students after they graduate.
Of course. So like Lisa mentioned earlier, we do have 5 different types of mentors. We have social inclusion, and so they'll accompany our scholars to different activities on campus, different on-campus clubs that they like to be involved in as well. We have residential mentors who do check-ins with our scholars just to make sure things that are being maintained in their dorms, like hygiene, and just also to check in on how they're doing emotionally, because college can be overwhelming, especially when you're far away from home, since we do have this program where they do live on campus. We have academic mentors who will help with coursework and anything regarding that. We have employment mentors, which Emily and I are both employment mentors right now. So we get to accompany the scholars to their on and off campus work sites. So it's essentially a job coach type of position, but the scholars are incredible. And so a lot of times we're just there for additional support if they request it. And then we have health and wellness mentors who just get the scholars thinking about some of those things, since that's an important element of college and independent living, going to the gym, talking about the types of foods that we are eating, talking about moderation, just some important points like that.
Awesome, thank you. And the burning question in the chat is, do you get credit or are you paid for the work you do as a mentor?
Yeah, I can go because I know Sydney's been talking a lot. Thank you. I personally, I think there are opportunities to get credit, but I personally am getting this as like a paid position to be working with the mentors, and that applies to both employment, and I also used to be previously residential, also residential mentors. So like, for example, as Sydney said, like working with like students' hygiene, everything like that. And I know for other students, they do it either for like volunteer experience as well, to prepare them either for other positions later on in the future. So that's how the program works currently right now.
Awesome, thank you, Emily.
Mhm.
So Caitlin and Karis, is this your first time living away from home? And what do you like most about it? And what do you like least about that? We'll start with Caitlin.
For me, this isn't my first time living away. Well, for like a long period of time it is, but like I visited my aunt before I came here in San Francisco. But my first ever trip was my 8th grade spring break trip. We went to Washington, DC, because my 8th grade class, we talked a lot about like information like from Washington, DC area. And we actually got to, for spring break, go to Washington, DC and saw all the visuals of what we learned. And we got to have the experience of living with friends in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my first time like actually going to a college with roommate for like a whole year.
Mm-hmm. What have you learned this whole past year about yourself and what it's like to live on your own?
I learned to like micromanage like roommate stuff, like getting along with my roommates, but also like independent stuff, like doing your laundry and like hygiene and stuff like that, being independent.
Yeah, I could probably learn a few things from you about getting along with roommates. So we'll have to connect.
Oh, definitely.
Karis, how about you? Is this your first time living by yourself in a residential situation? And what do you like and what do you not like about it?
This is my first time living away from home for a long period of time. Yes, I like it, but also I don't, because I live a farthest away from compared to everybody else. So I don't see my parents or my family until those big breaks. But I do call my mom like a couple times a day and check on things from home. Something that as Caitlin, roommate stuff, try being independent. That is a skill to learn, and that is like something we will not learn if we don't have this program or go to a different program, and it's only for like 2 years.
Karis, are you planning to go back home over the summer, or is there a program that you'll participate in over the summer months?
I am planning to go back home, but I'm trying something new with some of my friends, something new, but I don't know how that will go.
Are you able to share what the something new is, what you're planning?
It's not a plan yet, but it was an idea, and our moms are talking about it.
Oh.
So.
Sounds like a maybe a social group is in the planning stages.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So the next question, it might be for one of the mentors or Lisa. What supports are in place to help scholars transition into the program to learn self-discipline, adjustment to keeping a routine, and schedule independence. What supports do they receive in navigating misunderstandings in relationships with peers or other scholars? And Caitlin mentioned that just a little bit ago, but specifically in the program, how are students prepared as they transition in that first year?
I can start. Independence and opportunity is one of the main things that we try to work on at the very beginning. In August, before school starts, we have a boot camp, an orientation in August, so that everybody comes together and gets to know each other, live in the dorms, and do some Davis UCD activities around here. Building the cohort and the groups is super important. We have activities and thoughtfulness to introduce each other and bring in the mentors to help support when, you know, everybody is free and doing their just social parts and work in free time. Not every minute of a scholar's day is scheduled. So there's opportunities for that. So we give everybody the chance to get together and get to know each other, build relationships. And then as we go into the fall quarter, we start slowly. We start with just the foundational courses so that people get, students, the scholars get the opportunity to practice and make mistakes with support along the way.
Thank you, Lisa. There's another component in having a conversation with Beth Forker. Do the scholars in like cohort 2 become kind of mentors for students who are coming into cohort 1? What does that look like?
I'm gonna have Karis answer this because this is a perfect one for her.
Perfect.
Yes, we can be mentors, like social, and when it comes to work-wise. At the library, I mentor one of the freshmen, and she's working there only for a couple of hours, but I'm there at the same shift as her. So I do mentor her and to teach her how things work. And for social wise, like if they want to go off campus or they have questions or like living styles or what their opinions about something, that's when we step in and help them.
Harris, how does it feel to be a mentor? To share your experiences with another person, another scholar?
Can you do that again?
How does it feel to be a mentor to someone that you're teaching and they're learning from your experience? What does it feel like?
Like accomplishment, like I'm doing something right and helping them what we experienced before. It's like we're like seeing ourselves like how much we grow.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, everyone really benefits from the opportunity to share and be a teacher and a mentor, because we all have experiences that are beneficial to everyone, right? So this is the next question. I'm just going to pull out of the chat. I think it's a really important question that all of you might have a perspective on, because many of our attendees to this conference are educators and administrators who design educational programs. So here's the question. What experiences should we, meaning teachers and administrators, what experiences should we be creating in our elementary, middle, and high schools to help more students become scholars and mentors in an inclusive college, if that's what they decide to do? So what should elementary, middle, and high schools look like in order to prepare students to be successful in a college program? Who would like to start? Go ahead, Sydney.
I think this is a really great question. And I know that for me personally, I have been working with a neurodiverse community for a long time. And the very first time I was exposed to someone with an intellectual disability, it was a friend's cousin in like 2nd grade who had autism. And I think that early exposure and integration of our students in special ed courses with the students who are not in those courses, I think it makes a huge difference. I had the opportunity here to work at, we have a preschool associated with UC Davis, And there's a student in one of the preschool courses who is blind and has autism. And to see the way, even so young, that his peers are willing and excited to support him, I think just that exposure and that presence, I think humans have a natural tendency to have compassion, and that exposure, I think, is really important. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Sydney. I think it's really indicative of a truly inclusive program when students without disabilities are asking and advocating for students with disabilities to be a part of their community and recognizing when they're segregated, where they go and why aren't they with us? I think that's really one of the key components of an inclusive program. Caitlin, I would love to hear from you. It's your big chance to be an advocate and say, this is what I think our elementary, middle, and high schools should look like. So you're on, Caitlin.
Okay. I would probably say that being through elementary, middle, and high school, that they should like encourage us to like live our lives to the full potential. And that yes, some people may be different, some people may have a disability, but they should know that like when they see someone like that, they should see, oh, okay, we know what we need to do. This might be hard, but we have to educate them so they can eventually go to college and have a great life and do what all people can do, which is have a normal life and just be human and have a life like that.
I think you're well on your way to becoming a really effective advocate, Caitlin, so kudos. Emily, Lisa, or Karis, what should our elementary, middle, and high schools really be focusing on and prioritizing?
One of my highest priorities for elementary, middle, and high school is to have the opportunity for students to be included in general education curriculum and settings. Having inclusion is having those inclusive opportunities really develops not only the academic, the social, but the independence of students. And I think that's one of the first steps.
It's critical for our preschool, elementary, middle, and high school programming to really reflect the opportunities that might lead to a college experience for students, whether it's a career, moving into a career, the workforce, a college program, a trade school, whatever students dream or what their vision is should be an available opportunity. And I think our elementary, middle, and high schools can really reflect that. And really most do. So Karis or Emily, what about those elementary, middle, and high schools?
Yeah, so I grew up being raised in diapers with my cousin who also, he has cerebral palsy. And so both him and I growing up at the same kind of like pace for the beginning of our education, I think definitely helped with just kind of seeing what is accessible and what is not, and also seeing like the different opportunities that were given to both of us really young. And I think just having that experience, and then also my elementary school being more integrative as well, definitely helped open my perspective as well. And so it was kind of like secondhand nature, you know, not something that necessarily had to be learned in like a human development class or anything. And so similar to how Sydney and Caitlin also mentioned, it's just kind of like building upon that compassion as like you're younger. So then like mentorship just becomes being a basic human. And so I think that part definitely helped a lot. And I would have liked to see that more. I know that like at some point in my elementary school around like 2008, there were more budget cuts and everything. So programs did tied back, and then that kind of disappeared a little bit more in middle school. And I know that in high school as well, it followed through that. For example, my cousin, he is in a wheelchair, and so he wasn't able to follow me over into high school and had to go 3 cities out to be able to, and I'm in the Bay Area, so it's pretty, there's should be more funding for things, right? And so he had to go to another school that was a little bit more like at least like accessible in terms of the school infrastructure, right? But even then he didn't have the best experiences and stuff. And so I think it part of that and creating more inclusive experiences has to do with having that be done at a really early age. I think just growing up with each other is the best for both parties, because this is actually a topic that we were having in my human development class about whether things should be together. And I think having and learning together, and some people learn at different paces, and having aids to help with that, all that, there's enough space for everyone in our classroom and in our community. And I think just putting more funding towards that, and then having more experiences, like for all of us to be able to like be together, like not just like PE or art classes, but also in history classes and all of that, and not having it be so much segregated, I think would be the best way to have that start early on. So that way it doesn't have to be something that you learn in higher education, because higher education also, I'm a transfer student, so it's hard to even get access to University of California, Davis education as well. So I think, so that way, if we start early on in elementary school, people who don't go to a four-year university would be able to have the skill set to be able to be compassionate and be understanding of other people's experiences, not just their own, right? So I think that would be, I'm very, very passionate about that, and have had the opportunity to also work with like Best Buddies and help them with funding as well and other things throughout high school. And so I just think in general, like having that be early on and push more funding towards early education and have it be sustainable throughout the rest of everyone's academic careers would be the best. So that way it follows through into college and there's more retention on that part. So
it sounds like you're well on your way to becoming an advocate too, Emily. Right here. You said two things that really resonated with me. One is there's space for everyone. And number two, it's the real life experiences, not something you can learn in class.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Karis, I just wanted to give you the final word. What advice would you give teachers and administrators?
Advice to teachers. I guess get them a little more like L-minded, like disability people and non-disability people that can work together. It doesn't matter if disability people are less fortunate, they cannot do things as regular people can do, and give them a little more patience and more understanding where they're coming from. And then also just like getting more integrated, because when towards 5th grade, for my 5th grade and 4th grade, I was in a disability class away from other people, other students, so always around people like me, never really socializing with other people. And I think that's where the difference, where socializing for us is so hard, interacting with other people, because they don't know how to interact with us, or we don't know how to interact with them because of the boundary they put on the society of schooling.
Karis, I don't think I could have summed it up any better than that. So thank you so much for bringing us to a close. And I just wanted to extend my appreciation, the appreciation of our team for your time and your willingness to share your amazing experiences with the Redwood Seed Scholars Program. And with that, I'll turn it over to Kristen Brooks.
Thank you so much, everyone. Incredibly inspiring. I don't know if while you were presenting and sharing that you could look in the chat, but just so many cheers out there. And I think you're really encouraging everyone to create these inclusive spaces and places. So thank you to Lisa, Caitlin, Kara, Sydney, and Emily for sharing not only your experiences with us, but underscoring the critical need for all of us to understand system-wide policies, practices, programs, and adult mindsets to reflect this option, to prepare students who want to go to college by giving them the resources and supports they may need to make it a self-determined reality. So we know you all have incredibly bright futures ahead, and we cannot wait to see what you do next and are so excited that we are accomplices alongside you. So next up, we have a scheduled short break where you can enjoy live music by DJ B Diamond, followed by some breakout sessions, another break, and then the next set of breakout sessions. Then during lunch, you can network with one another in the optional roundtable discussions. And then we'll conclude our first day with our closing keynote delivered by Diana Pastora Carson. You won't want to miss it. So please join DJ B Diamond in the next link, and then we will see you at roundtable discussions and for the next session. Enjoy.